What's up everyone, Doyler here, and it is finally time for my Inosuke hero analysis video. I know that I said I would do these for every hero since Tix, and I did for Tix and Flora, but unfortunately I haven't really had a lot of a chance to play with Inosuke myself, so I was putting off this video until I could either see more other people use him or just maybe get a chance to play with him myself. So all of this is going to come from either what I've seen from other creators or players, as well as my personal thoughts and opinions. But hit me up if you have an E5 Inosuke in your account that you want me to show off or test. I'd love to add some videos as well as fix my analysis if I get anything wrong here. That said, the Morax video should come out sooner because Hellboy has an E5 Morax that I will be able to test, so shouldn't take quite as long for the Morax one. That said, let's jump right into Inosuke and cover really what I think about him as well as his stats and stuff. So the first thing I noticed off the bat with Inosuke is he has 1224 speed. This is interesting to note because Carrie and Russell and all of those heroes have 1218 speed. So by base stats alone, he is 6 speed faster than these heroes. That said, he doesn't have a speed skin yet, so if they have a legendary speed skin, they will still tie. I'm guessing he will come out with a speed skin because there is a reason the devs gave him 6 more speed than them by default. Attack-wise, he's coming in at 29,691. This is huge. For comparison, Russell clocks in at 25,178. So almost 4,000 more damage or attack than Russell, which is pretty significant. Finally, I'm going to use his HP, and I'm comparing him to Russell because they're Rangers in a similar vein. He's not quite as bursty as Russell, but he's a new Ranger, fairly comparable, so that's the hero I'm going with. 594,000 HP compared to Russell's 513,000, so over 80,000 more HP as well, so definitely a tankier hero than Russell. So let's jump into his abilities. First up, we have his standard passive ability, HP attack. He does have control immunity, which is good, especially for PvP. Some new heroes aren't coming with this, which isn't ideal. 60 speed, and the most interesting one is crit damage received minus 25%. This is the first time we've had a crit damage received minus 25% stat here. And additionally, it's even better than Shelter, which is the E2 enable that gives 15% reduced crit damage received. So these will stack. I'm guessing it should be additive, so he should have 40% reduced crit damage if he's running a Shelter and this, which is pretty significant, all things considered. So not bad at all, and the 30 CI is nice. That should quickly ramp up to that 77% number. I'll cover in the future. So, other than his stat passive skill, his basic attack targets 3 random enemies, dealing 300% damage, and he gains a Sword Wind shield with its strength equal to 50% of the damage dealt. I'll cover the shields in a second. Additionally, he increases himself 30% attack for 4 rounds and 20% of crit damage for 4 rounds. So this is going to stack a ton, and he is going to be doing some solid damage after the first few rounds. So the Swordwind Shield is a shield that offsets the direct damage received, and it will disappear when the strength of the shield is 0. The shield strength caps at 5,000% of self-attack. So this is his main core ability, and what I'm going to cover a little more in depth. So Inosuke will get a shield, and if you've seen it, it's that little blue sphere around him that works as an HP-based shield. So say he's, his 5,000% of his attack comes out to 2 million hit points or whatever it is. He now has a 2 million hit point shield in front of his main hit points. And a damage calculation is done, subtracts HP from the shield, and if any shield is left over, he keeps it. If it's gone, any overflow damage will take away from his current hit points. Now note that, first of all, this is direct damage, so this is only going to be basic attacks, active skills, and passive damage, but it's not going to cover true damage like Sherlock Swap, Healing Curse, Reflect Damage, Carrie's Dark Mark, any of Ada's true damage, etc. Additionally, it is going to protect him. Things like AMB or Crown will protect him as the damage calculation is done before subtracting HP from the shield. So if you were running a Splendid AMB Inosuke, and you got -1 from Russ's light arrows, that would only subtract 1 HP from a shield, and so on. So the Shield will also work with things like Amun-Ra shields, etc. So it's a pretty awesome ability, and really the thing that makes him so good at what he does. So his next passive skill... Sorry, 1 second. Just missed a call. His next passive skill is his Raid Wind. So when a round ends, if he still has the Swordwind shield and any hit points, it could be 2 million, 1 HP, it doesn't matter, he'll deal damage to one random enemy equal to 40% of their current HP. And that's going to cap at 1500% of his attack. So some nice end of round damage, which is pretty convenient for him. And last but not least is his active skill. Sorry. So he deals 1200% of attack to 3 random enemies and gains a shield with its strength equal to 50% of the damage. Note that the shield's HP is affected by the actual damage dealt. So any damage reduction on the opponent's side is going to reduce the total damage he does, which is going to reduce the amount of shield he gains. If he currently has a shield active when he releases the active skill, so not after he gains the shield, it will guaranteed to crit and deals extra damage to one random enemy equal to 80% of their current HP, capping at 5000% attack. Now note that this is actual damage, not true damage, so it can be blocked with DR, things like that, so you're not always going to do 80% of someone's remaining HP. It can be blocked or reduced, which is nice. So, pretty great kit. Pretty interesting hero. I am regretting not building him during the scroll event, but what can you do? So first of all, Sealand. Inosuke is an absolute monster in Sealand and quickly moved to the top of my first E5 heroes to make. I'm going to include some links in the description, but with a regular cog and super minimal supports, he cleared Sealand 20 as a solo E5. With slightly better supports and artifacts, he cleared Sealand 20 as an E3. This is insane. This is the first non-dark faction, other than Abyss, that doesn't need an E5 hero to be cleared, which is incredible. Aspen Dungeon, he's an absolute monster on the way to Death 1. I haven't gotten to see a lot of him in Death 1 to Death 100, but according to Barry, and I'll include a link in this description, it was his easiest Death 1 run yet. So again, that puts him really high on my first E5 list. I will want to see more of him from Death 1 to Death 100 to know if he's worth building in the mid to late game, but early game, Inosuke is an absolute monster for PvE, which matters a ton. Broken Spaces and Flame Shrine, he outdamages Russell and Garuda, so you don't have to worry about building a first E5 that's going to let you fall behind in BS and FS. Someone like Cthulhu who doesn't fare as well there, or Solo Delacium, things like that. He looks really awesome in Trial of the Champion, and actually the build looks to be Splendid Crown, not Splendid A and B. I highly recommend you check out GDP's analysis video for that. He shows him off in late game whale level Trial of the Champion, and he looks better than expected, especially at the first look. And last but not least, Inosuke is an absolute monster in the Void, especially Realm's Gate, and sort of Void Vortex due to his shield mechanics. GDP had basically a solo Inosuke left in Void Corruption 61, clearing puppet waves. People have been farming Void Corruption 46 with a solo Inosuke. Even if you don't want him for late game PvP or PvE, I think building an E5 Inosuke eventually for Void Corruption, really mid to high 40s and up, is going to be almost necessary unless you get V4 all your other heroes or Transcending heroes. So I know I didn't cover a ton of actual gameplay footage. Again, I would love to get some footage for E5 Inosuke, even though he's been out for a while, just to show off to the channel. But I'm going to include a ton of links in the description from Barry and GDP for you guys to watch some of their actual gameplay videos. But hopefully this covers my thoughts on Inosuke. In the end, I'm going to put him as the best first E5 hero and A tier in mid to late game PvE, and probably B to A tier in late game PvP. This is an aspect I haven't seen a ton of. I don't think he's going to be great in CCL teams, but Trial of the Champion, I think he's really going to shine, as well as probably some IDA teams. So I think that about wraps up all of my thoughts and analysis on Inosuke. Hopefully you still enjoyed this video, even though I didn't get to show off any gameplay. But be sure to hit that subscribe button if you appreciate my hero analysis videos. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.